Well, hello there folks and welcome. George here from Softube to tell you all about our brand new vocoder for UAD. This thing is designed with simplicity in mind, but also with phenomenal sound quality. It's supposed to be the very best mix of features that will allow you to get the greatest vocoding sounds you've ever got, but without the headache. So we'll talk you through it and we'll see if you don't just fall in love, because it's a pretty cool thing. The idea is pretty simple. You take an incoming signal and you analyze the data in split bands of frequency, and then you resynthesize that information using a carrier synth. And we've built the carrier synth into our vocoder so that you can listen to one single incoming signal rather than having to combine two, which can be kind of complicated in other vocoders. So this enables you to get up and running pretty quickly, but it has a surprising amount of versatility. Let's just start off with a very simple vocal phrase, and I'll show you what this thing can do.
Your hand across my pillow lay.
So,
Beckoning.
I'll mute the sound itself and we'll hear what the vocoder is doing with it. We're listening to the sidechain of that audio track there, and as you can see, the vocoder is picking up on the frequency information in lots of different bands. You can have 20 different bands for a lovely, smooth, detailed sound, or as few as 4 for a much simpler, more robotic, crushed sound. Let's stick with 16 for now, and I'll show you the different variants that can be achieved with the carrier synth. We have a pulse wave, which can be modulated, pulse width modulation there, for a more complex sound or a simpler one. You have a square wave, or a saw. And all of these can be affected by the pitch modulation, which can go from a subtle vibrato to a crazy warble. And then finally there's this noise function, which can be very spooky, or you can use it for percussive sources, which we'll do later on. It's very, very useful for that. Now up here we have the unvoiced section, where you can bring back in some of the consonants that you might otherwise lose. This just gives you a little burst of noise for every S or T sound that you miss. Your hand across my pillow. So that's a nice feature in terms of bringing back some reality and life to the sound. You can play with the stereo width of the output signal. You can send alternate bands left and right, which can be a pretty cool effect. And it's different depending on how many bands you have, of course. Let's set that about halfway. And then we have the parallel blend, which is very useful for one thing in particular. If you listen to the dry signal on its own,
Your hand across
of course you just hear the original vocal. But if you set it somewhere in between, you will hear the original vocal and the vocoded signal. Now, this may be the moment where I turn this button off, disabling this built-in keyboard, and bring into play my own MIDI keyboard. I'm going to play some chords along with that vocal and do that cool kind of Imogen Heap resynthesized sound.
Hand across my pillow lay, beckoning the break of day.
That kind of thing can be an awful lot of fun. Let's take a look now at some percussion input. I have a little drum beat here. Sounds like this on its own. When we bring the wet signal in, we're using the characteristics of that drum sound to create movement in our synth. And we can make that a faster or slower process on output with this shape knob here, which, especially when we bring back in the drum sound as well, can make for a big difference. And we can tilt the spectrum. We can have more high frequencies or more low. You can even, using this freeze function at the top, take whatever input you're giving the vocoder and chop it every 16th beat, say, and just hold that formant, that vowel, that particular spectrum for the duration of that 16th beat. So let's listen to it. We've got the vocal coming back through it now. And depending on what's coming in, you get a different sound held for each of those beats. And obviously this is tempo synced to the DAW. So when you bring your beat back, it's a great way to create some crazy effects out of some very simple sources. So there you go, that's the basics, the Softube vocoder from UAD. If you like the sound of it, go and check it out, grab a demo, and if you enjoy it, take it home. You're going to use it and use it and use it. Thanks very much for watching and have a great day.